Okay, so Amazon runs the same meeting ritual every single Wednesday morning. It costs the company millions of dollars per year, but it's also the company's most valuable hour of the entire week. I took it and I installed it inside a $1 million startup, and the results are pretty crazy. And so in this video, I'll give you the whole playbook for free. No gatekeeping, just a founder to founder transmission of one of the most powerful rituals in the entire world. Okay, so the problem is that most startups move fast, but they also move blind. You've got metrics in Notion, you've got dashboards in Stripe, you've got updates in Slack, you've everything everywhere. And so no one really knows exactly what happened last week, why it happened, and what to be focusing on next. And so chaos is kind of the default state, which is fine up to an extent, but as you scale and as you grow, you need a system that grounds you and helps you answer these three questions that I'll get into in a bit. The ritual I'm talking about here is called the Weekly Business Review, or the WBR. It's essentially a meeting ritual every single Wednesday morning. And the whole purpose is to answer three main questions. The first one being, how did the business actually do last week? Number two, what did our customers experience? And number three, are we on track to hit our goals? So this is a 60-minute no BS meeting with 50 VPs in the room, and they've been hitting this for 20 plus years. So you can imagine how valuable this is if they've consistently been doing this for 20 years with 50 people. That's a lot of money for one single meeting. And so you may be thinking to yourself that you're already doing this, or at least some part of it. You have dashboards here and there, you're tracking some metrics, but do you have a set time every single week where your team sits down and answers these three questions, not just casually, but with real data? And even if you do you have one central place where the truth actually lives, where all your core metrics sit, so everyone's looking at the same reality? Most startups don't. Metrics live across, 5 different tools, half the team's guessing, and no one knows what's actually moving the needle, which is fine up to an extent, don't get me wrong, but you don't really want to scale that way. And like I said, at Amazon, this is the most expensive meeting in the entire week, but it's also the most valuable. 60 minutes every week, every VP shows up. They track over 400 metrics, but don't worry, you won't have to track that many. Just a few to start is enough, and I'll show you how to pick the right ones. All right, so let's go through this step by step. Number one, pick your outputs. What are 2 to 3 outcomes that you really care about right now in your business? Is it MRR, activation rates, retention, whatever it is? I want you to do this with me. Pause this video, get a blank, pen and paper, Google Sheet, whatever it is, and you're going to do a brainstorming session. Doesn't have to be fancy, just don't overthink it. Just write down whatever you think in all these steps, and later we'll refine them and look over, what makes most sense. So do that right now. Step 2, identify inputs. And this is super important because you can't really optimize for outputs just by looking at outputs. You really want to hone in on the inputs that affect those outputs. Think about what drives those outcomes and keep going deeper until you hit something you control, something you can measure weekly, and something that reflects customer experience. This is super important as well. And again, pause the video and actually do this. Step 3, map the journey. And to be clear, we're still in the brainstorming process. So keep the sheet open, just write down whatever you think, don't think twice about it. In this step, I want you to look at your funnel and I want you to follow your customer journey to a T. So all the way from when they enter your world, whether that be from, cold email, paid ads, content, whatever, and until you close them. And this is, by the way, also just in general, really good practice for business. You would be surprised how many business owners don't do this. And so when you do this, I want you to look at what are the drop-offs, what signals success, and what metrics could you be tracking in your customer journey. This could be, for example, how many people go from one step to another, how often a product is in stock, when someone views a product page, or, downtime, Whatever it is, just to write it down. And once you've completed your brainstorming session and you have your big list of metrics, I want you to choose 5 to 10 of those. And I highly recommend choosing the ones that are customer facing. And that's all. Just start small, get the ball going, and you can add more as you go. And then for each and every metric, you need to assign ownership. So someone on your team has to take ownership of that metric and own it, because no owner, no accountability. And on the meetings, this person will talk about the metric if there's anything to talk about. So that's really important. Which brings us to step 5, build a simple tracker. And this could be a Notion table, Google Sheets, or a tool like mine. Shameless plug. But the most important part is that for each and every metric, you're tracking both the trailing 6 weeks. So this is the current week, and then the trailing 6 weeks, but also a 12-month chart. And so you can compare the two. And once you have data for over a year, you'll see another line that shows the current year and then past year. But like I said, it doesn't have to be fancy like this. If you can set it up in Google Sheets, Notion, whatever, even if it's scrappy, just a table or anything, it doesn't have to be charts in the beginning, then that's fine. Like I said, you just want to get the ball going, get this habit baked in, and you'll refine it as you go. Step 6, set a weekly time for the meeting. Same day, same time, no reschedules. Tuesday or Wednesday usually works best. For context, Amazon runs a WBR for each department on Tuesdays. And then on Wednesday morning, they have the big company WBR, which by the way has 50 people in the meeting. So Wednesday morning usually, but Tuesday works fine. Step 7, run the ritual. Every week, your team should answer the 3 main questions, which is how did the business actually do last week? What did our customers experience? And then are we on track to hit our goals? And you should only be talking about variances. So if a metric is on track, say nothing to see here. And if something's off, explain why, but only briefly. If you don't know yet, you'll say, still analyzing, we'll follow up. You should keep notes, assign follow-ups, never use custom slides, always keep it standard. This is not a strategy meeting. This is an operational truth. And also think about this as your team's accountability meeting. And I promise you, this ritual won't just help you spot patterns and steer the business. It'll also shine a light on whether your team is performing or if they're just busy. And to give you an idea of what to track and what to ignore, try to be very specific with some of your metrics. So for example here, percentage of signups who reach activation step within 24 hours. This could be a really good metric to track to see, how your onboarding process looks like, or, whatever. I'm not saying that number of tweets posted isn't a good metric. It could be for your use case. And it's also good to track general metrics like this. But just to give you something to think about, try to be specific. Don't just track the vanity metrics that everyone's tracking and you can see on the surface. Try to go a bit deeper. And to give you an example of a team that I helped implement this with, before installment, they had, random updates, missed trends, didn't know what their customers were experiencing. But just within 2 weeks after installing this, they had clarity. Their priorities changed. They even started seeing leading indicators of churn before it hit. They realized a team member was underperforming and let them go as a result. And on top of that, their team got way more aligned and in sync. And so I hope you see how valuable this is. This $1 trillion ritual isn't magic. It's just what focused execution looks like. And so yeah, if you found this helpful, I'm thinking of doing a teardown of a real WBR from a real startup. So drop a comment down below if you want to see that, and do all that YouTube stuff if you will as well. And yeah, remember, clarity scales, chaos skills. No, kills.